What word would you use for somebody who fakes their own death and says that they've died from cervical cancer when actually they're alive? I can think of only one word that I'd use, and the word I'd use is atrocious. Actor and model Poonam Pandey, known in the past for pulling weird publicity stunts, surpassed herself this time. A message on her Instagram post quoting her manager and her family said that at the age of 32, Poonam Pandey had died from cervical cancer. People who saw this had no reason to disbelieve it because I guess nobody imagined that anybody could stoop so low. January was Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. This weekend, we are going to be looking at World Cancer Day. And for cancer survivors like the one we're just about to speak with, what Poonam Pandey did has been hugely triggering. Today, casually, just like that, she took to the same Instagram and said, "Hey, hello everyone, I'm alive." It is not funny. There's nothing funny about cancer. There's nothing funny about those who have to battle it every single day. The trauma they feel, the suffering they go through. Not to even mention those who have lost loved ones to cancer. Each one of us has a friend, a family member, or a personal story to share when it comes to cancer. And also remember that 200 women die from cervical cancer alone in India every day. The attempt, they're now saying, was to create awareness about cervical cancer. But what has happened might actually have the opposite effect. When Poonam Pandey's death was being believed, you had people actually asking us questions. What is the HPV vaccine? How does one get one? What is cervical cancer? At what age do you need the vaccine? Now that it has all turned out to be one big, fat, elaborate hoax, people may even lose interest in this conversation. To talk about whether Poonam Pandey should face some action, some pain, some sort of punishment for what she has done, the way she has trivialized such a serious issue. Let's introduce our guests on the program today. I want to introduce Kanika Mohan Saxena. Kanika is, of course, India's second female master scuba diver. She's also someone who shows that you can have cancer and beat it. And I'm sure that she, like so many of us, is furious today. And also joining us is a well-known oncologist from Max Hospital, Dr. Mondal. Thank you so much for your time. What a disservice to the hard work that doctors actually do as well to try and create awareness. So I want to start with you, Kanika. First, what you felt when you thought that this young woman at 32 had actually died. I mean, I know that I know very little about Poonam Pandey, but I was shocked to hear the news when I believed it to be true. And then what that emotion was today when you discovered that it was fake. I'll come to your own story and your own battle with cancer in a moment. But as a cancer survivor, and I know you're not only a cancer survivor, you're many more things. And I don't mean to be reductionist about your identity, but I'm sure having a personal experience made your responses that much more deeply felt.
Thanks, Barkha. Thank you for having me here. Pleasure to chat. I normally keep away from all of this, and I'm always up for understanding people and their behavior. But yesterday, I woke up very early in the AM, and somebody sent me a message saying, Poonam Pandey, and for the life of me, I did not know who Miss Pandey was, and I don't mean insult here, has passed away at the age of 32 on cervical cancer. You know, I was in my bed and I was
Yeah.
like I don't know her, but and I'm going to tell you something, Barkha. When this C word hits you and very close up personal, you literally are a part of a group, a therapy group, or a survivor group. Until then, you don't understand it. The
Yeah.
first thing when somebody sent this to me, and I was like, oh my God, this poor girl. I mean, and I don't know anything about her, but that just empathy. And I was like, I actually went back and I put it in my group of my set of, support system. And I'm like, one more died. And the first thing was like, oh, will my cancer come back and am I going to die? And I promise you, I mean, all cancer survivors live through quarter after quarter, whatever their prognosis or diagnosis is to go to the doctor, it's not fun. And that
Yeah.
was the first thing. It completely triggered me off. And I was really upset at the time somebody in the group deleted and said, Kanika, don't. It's not your story. But it took me that, it threw me off for 10 minutes. I get up this morning and the next thing I see that the lady is alive. And I read through her interview. saying that this is cancer awareness and she's trying to bring awareness for people. I mean, Barkha, I'm gobsmacked. I'm shocked. I think it's absolutely insulting for those who've lost their lives, for those who struggle, for those who are in treatment and those who are in remission, and those who passed away and their families. I mean, this word itself is so loosely used, and I'm certain that there are better ways of spreading awareness in the country, right? Imagine what kind of effective and I'm telling you, I'm so angry right now. It takes a lot for me to be upset or angry. But I just took off. Even before I was going to talk to you, I told my friends, and they're like, Kanika, leave it. I'm like, somebody ought to speak. I have so many women I know who've gone through this, Barkha, and I've never spoken about this in their lives out of shame, oblique guilt, oblique what will happen, somebody's getting married, tada, tada, tada.
Hmm.
And more so later, but absolutely distasteful, disrespect to everybody.
You've taken the words out of my mouth. It's absolutely both distasteful and disrespectful. And I want you to talk a little bit about, why you thought it was so important to come and speak. As you said, you usually stay away.
I do. I've spent a long time in media, and I was diagnosed with cancer in 2021, to be precise. To cut a long story short, when I started talking about my journey, I realized there was little one knew. One moment I was flying in Bosnia skiing, and the other moment I was in India in a hospital bed being told you have cancer. And I can smile right now. I promise you, I didn't feel at that moment. My word was just, I felt that somebody took the carpet off my feet, and suddenly I realized that for somebody like me who's so strong, and I'm very open-minded, I always believe that everybody has an opinion, the world goes by. I started sharing my journey. A lot of naysayers and a lot of people were like, why do you share? I mean, you're a woman. And I'm like, no, this is something which people need to know. And in my own way, Barkha, if you see my accounts and my social media, I've always tried to bring in awareness that go for your timely treatment. I'm not a doctor, of course, but from my own experiences, that go for your treatment. If you see something, rush to a doctor, get your test done. Knowing is better because then you know what you need to do. So I've been trying to spread that awareness through and through my journey, and I've shared all the time this. But when this happened, I was like, this just takes away from the entire point where, and I saw one of your pieces, I think day before yesterday, you were doing on cervical cancer and how specifically for young girls it can be a saving grace. Somebody goes and completely out of the whack, without research, without thought, without empathy, without EQ, just goes and does this because somebody in the agency was sitting and saying, hey, you know what, dude, this is a great idea. Let's just get some likes. And I mean, I was forced, and I was like, I can't sit silent for this
Yeah.
because there are so many women who do not talk about this. And the reasons, if I tell you, are strange. I don't want people to empathize with me. What happens tomorrow if, I'm about to get married, if my husband finds, we live in a country like India. I mean, we might want to call ourselves very modern, but a debatable topic, right? This is a taboo, and this is a piece where people are very sensitive about these information.
And,
With
and,
things
and
like these,
And in some ways, Kanika, before I come to Dr. Mandal, what Poonam Pandey has done is a disservice to all those women who anyway feel a taboo, who anyway feel a hesitation. Tomorrow they'll speak, nobody will believe them. They'll say, हाँ तुम तो झूठ बोल रहे होगे Poonam Pandey जैसे. It has completely trivialized the trauma, the agony, the isolation, the loneliness, the gravitas, and it has also undone the awareness that was sought to be created, the budget just announced in HPV vaccine, all of that seriousness has gone out of the window. Dr. Mandal, it has undone good work done by survivors, by doctors, by the larger community. What do you feel about what's happened? I mean, how can she be allowed to get away with this? She should be barred from social media platforms. There should be legal action against her. She has knowingly told an untruth that has gone viral, knowingly. I mean, I don't think she should be allowed to keep her accounts on any of these platforms. But sorry, Dr. Mandal, go ahead.
Yeah, so very good evening, Barkha, and thank you for bringing me in to discuss this topic. So, just like Kanika told her experience, how did she come to know about this kind of same thing happened with me. Some of my known to young people, they called me up that, doctor, do I need to get this cervical vaccine? I said, what happened? Why are you so much anxious? This thing happened. So
Hmm.
I read about the news, and then first thing which came to my mind, that usually no one dies out of cervical cancer within 2 days. She
Yeah.
posted something on social media where she was healthy, hearty, and she died of cervical cancer within 2 days. It sends a very, very wrong message to the community, to the people, and it's a misinformation. So I would say that I would use three adjectives. It is cheap, it's gross, and it's shameless.
I
You
think
are very much
those
right that,
I want to repeat those words: cheap, gross, and shameless. And I think those are good
yes.
words, and we'd all agree with them. But go ahead. Yeah.
And so if we just look at the history, how cervical cancer happens, it takes at least 10 to 15 years for cervical cancer to manifest in the body after the HPV infection sets in. Then also, it's very early stage, and that means there is every chance to get cured out of that disease. So 10 to 15 years, the cancer first manifests, which is pretty much early in the cancer pathway.
Yeah.
The person has a high chance of cure. She can live a long life, normal life. So all this misinformation just to get some publicity is unacceptable. Thousands and millions of women, they are fighting this, they are gracefully fighting this, um, they are suffering through, they're going through a lot, they are suffering a lot, but no one is going to use this cheap stunt. Coupled with that, if you see the medical community, the social workers, the doctors, the oncologists, the healthcare workers, the professionals, the policymakers, everyone is very serious. It's a serious job, it's a serious
Yeah.
thing. Cancer is not any fun.
Yeah.
One single incident make it like a fun. But
Yeah.
to be honest, when I read that this is the news, deep inside me I knew that this is fake. This was fake, I knew this. I was just waiting, and then I read another news that she died of drug overdose. So then I felt a little bit relaxed that yes, that might be plausible. It seems now plausible to me that yes, death is unfortunate, but still can happen out of drug overdose, and that can actually happen within such short span of time. That
Yeah.
matches the scenario. I did not know what happened in reality. I was just reading the news, and those were my analysis that yes, it can be a drug overdose, but hardly it can be because of cervical cancer that one can die within 2 days. So that's how the thing. One more thing which I must mention here: death is respectable. One must respect death. And look at this
Absolutely.
lady. What she did, she made death a fun. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
This is gross. This is gross. This is unacceptable. So
And
I
somewhere I read, sorry to interject, somewhere I
Yeah.
read, or in one of the articles I read, and she was like, I'm having trouble with my health. And, there was a whole piece which went by saying that I'm having trouble with my health and I've been diagnosed and etc. And then one fine day you see something like this. And I, through your platform, Barkha, I want to reiterate to women and to men, please, 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 this, do not give leeway to people as these. It is more than derogatory. It takes away from all the good work the government or the medical fraternity is trying to do to bring awareness. Please do not even give way to this by posting comments or, I mean, Barkha, there is a statement, and the line is that with great powers comes greater responsibility.
Yeah.
So, if Ms. Pandey was really wanting to talk about cervical cancer, I'm sure all the women, and I speak on behalf of all of them, would have done a research and would have understood and appreciated what would it take for people to check themselves and go to the doctor, to the hospital to find a course of action
yes,
and
I
preventive as
agree
well.
with you, Kanika. I
Yeah.
agree with you,
Thank you,
Kanika.
doctor.
So before I get just final thoughts from you, we asked our viewers, what should happen? Should we just shrug our shoulders, say this is terrible, or should there be some action? Should there be some
Can I
form?
just Can I
Just
just
one
make
second.
my remarks?
Just 1 minute, Dr. Mandal. I want to show you the findings of our poll. If we can bring up our poll, we actually asked our audience. Can we just take this banner off for 1 second so we can see this? Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yes, that's nice actually.
1 minute. Can I see the poll again? Sorry, we lost the sight of that poll there. Should Poonam Pandey be banned from social media and face legal charges for faking her death? 84% of people polled have said yes, she must face some sort of consequence for this. This can't just be one more story in the news cycle. Yesterday we're reporting her death. Today we're reporting her faking her death. So I just want last comments from both of you. What should be that legal action, Dr. Mandal? I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I was just before seeing your poll result, this was just going inside my mind. There is strict IT rules and laws regarding it. So she
Yeah.
has actually misutilized this entire platform, and I think the
Yes.
lawmakers must take this thing very, very seriously. Otherwise, all the efforts of this entire country, the healthcare community, the social workers, the survivors, the family members, everything will go in vain, and that we cannot let it happen. We
Yeah.
should be very strict and rigid on this now.
Kanika, as someone who's obviously remade your life as a scuba diver instructor, someone who's been in media, obviously you fought and won cancer, but it's not easy. To those, and they're not too many, but there are those who are saying today, chalo, koi baat nahi, at least people are talking about cervical cancer. Finally, they're talking about it. I personally think it's ridiculous, but you would say, what, as somebody who's actually battled your way through this, I give you the last word.
Thanks, Barkha. And it's absolutely ridiculous because, half knowledge or no knowledge is the worst enemy of it all, specifically for a disease like this, right?
Yeah.
The big word say. You asked whether there should be some kind of a repercussion. I'm no policymaker or lawmaker, but like I said, you can say whatever you want in your personal bedroom, but when you are somebody who has a platform and there are millions of people who follow you, there is a responsibility and you have to be responsible. So I would actually like her to apologize to the public for this cheap stunt she's done. It's like I said, it comes with very bad taste. And second, I would love to see actually Meta or X actually take an action, and she should be barred from her social media accounts, according to me, because so many people follow Barkha. And no,
Yeah.
absolutely, I'm pissed. I'm really pissed.
And that makes all of us. I think we're all on the same side of this conversation. Thank you, Kanika, in particular to you, because as a survivor, as a woman in particular, I think speaking about these things, as you've said, has been taboo for many women. Poonam Pandey positioned herself as an outspoken woman who was not scared of conventional norms, but she undid the fight both for women and cancer survivors in so many ways, and the effects of those are actually not going to be felt immediately, but in the days, weeks, and months to come. Thank you, Dr. Mandal. Thank you, Kanika, and take
Most
care.
welcome.
Stay
Thank
strong.
you. Thank you,
Keep fighting.
Barkha. Cheers.
Keep fighting.
God bless.
Thank you, Barkha.
Cheers.
God
Bye
bless.
bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.